So today we need to talk about SR versus Cloud9 White, which happened yesterday because, as you could probably tell by the thumbnail, got a little heated, let's say, particularly with the coach of Shopify Rebellion, Robwiz, who, after he made an offensive gesture, as it was put here in the competitive ruling, actually got suspended for today's match, the grand final in the championship. He is suspended for that game, and we need to talk about this first. I will touch on some of the rounds in that game because it was a very interesting game, and I do still want to, have that be some of the focus, but we do need to talk about this because people in the Valorant community are going a bit crazy about it. And a lot of people, both inside the scene and, on Reddit and whatnot, are disagreeing with this decision from Riot, that they think that it's harsh that he got suspended for what he did and whatnot. And, well, let me just say a couple things first before I get into my main point. One, is this objectively cool? And, do I find it a bit funny what he did? Yes. Two, if SR going to win this tournament, should Robwiz, frame that picture of himself doing it and, have that hang in his house for many years to come? Yes. That said, that's what, my heart is saying. But if we take away the emotion from it and use our heads, I don't know what anyone is talking about. What do you mean the suspension is harsh? It doesn't make any sense to me what everyone's going, oh man, this is such a harsh ruling by Riot. Fine, sure, but no! What do you mean? If Pep Guardiola went and did this in one of Man City's games, he'd get suspended. If Bill Belichick did it for the Patriots today, he's going to get suspended, right? What do you mean? And I think for a lot of people, they've brought up like other instances of when this has happened. But let me just explain why this instance is a bit different to some of those others that have happened in Valorant so far. So one, Robwiz is a coach. And, whether you like it or not, it's much easier to suspend coaches than it is players. If you suspend a player, most teams would be down to 4 players and they can't play the game. So they'd have to forfeit the game, which obviously would cause a big upset, right? You can play a game without a coach. And actually SR have their assistant coach who's going to be there anyway. So, it will be a loss, don't get me wrong, but, it won't be game ruining for them, I don't think. They'll still have a chance. And I think that's actually one of the reasons why Riot probably wants the tier 1 teams to have a sub, is because they can suspend players if they do that, right? Because you have a sub, and so we can suspend a player if we need to. But that's the first thing, right? It's just much easier to suspend a coach than it is a player. And you might say, well, that's not enough of a reason to suspend someone, and that's true. But the second reason this is different to most of the other examples that this has happened in is because this was on a LAN and not online. A lot of the other situations have happened online, and that is a massive, massive difference, and let me explain why. Because when you do it on LAN, and Cloud9 White reacted, and I think Mel tweeted about this, that, they thought it was funny and they didn't really care that much, whatever, right? But you don't know the other team is going to react like that. And there's a real chance that actually this escalates to something more, and you have an actual potential there of causing a fight on stage. I can only imagine, let's assume that, XSET were playing FPX, right? In that turret game where they had to come back early in the morning, and FPX was super mad, right? That they had to do that, and they weren't happy with it. If XSET would have won that game, and, Psycho, the XSET coach, did this to FPX, I think there might have been a fight on the stage, right? And that's the thing about this kind of thing, is you don't know that that's not going to happen. And whilst that might be entertaining to watch, it would not be a good look for Riot and for Valorant as a whole, and sponsors wouldn't like it and all that stuff. So obviously they want to avoid any of those situations. Whereas, of course, when it's online, what are you going to do, right? You can't fight about it. You're all in your own rooms. So, obviously that kind of thing can't happen. Also, online, you can't actually technically prove who it was directed towards. And that is another thing as well, that, of course, this was very clearly directed towards Cloud9. I think Boaster had one of these situations where he got fined as well, but he was just doing it to the camera. And obviously, again, when you don't know who it's directed towards, or, it's clearly not directed towards anyone else, right? Obviously, then there is no cause for escalation. And I think that is the major, major difference here, that this potentially could have got a lot worse, had Cloud9, reacted badly to this. And that is why a suspension is justified, in my opinion. And I don't know why everyone's freaking out about this. Maybe they're just not fans of other sports, but I legitimately can't think of really many other sports where someone would, in a kind of clearly angry way, do this to someone else, another competitor, after winning or losing, and just get away with it without some kind of suspension, right? Because that escalation potentially is there, and so I think it was an obvious decision for Riot. And I've seen some people as well talk about like, oh, just suspend him, after the tournament, right? Just don't do it for the grand final, let him be in the grand final. Again, to me, that makes no sense. I don't understand the logic there other than sentimental value of, it's a grand final. I don't understand that at all, right? Because it's like, what, you can just do whatever if you're 12-0 up in a semi-final, you can just do whatever you want because you're gonna win, and you're not gonna get suspended for the final, so who cares? Like, you obviously can't do that either. Again, don't really know what all these people are talking about. It seems so obvious to me. Maybe I don't know, maybe I was just removed from it a bit, and so yeah, to me it just seems obvious. But let's now dive into the game. And so let's start with round number 6 on Haven. Now, Haven was map 2 of 3. Cloud9 actually won the first map. This was their map choice, Cloud9, and Haven is a map that they are truly dominant on, right? So for SR to win this map, it was particularly important. They then win on Icebox. They then go on to beat Team Liquid as well to then play in the grand final against G2. So let's take a look at this map because it was pretty crazy. And SR are on the attacking side here, and Cloud9 are on the defense. And we'll start off with a truly bonkers round, right? So we're about 20 seconds into the round or whatnot. Not too much has happened yet. You see we got the Skydog in here. That's going to go towards Garage, get shot nice and early. And so, again, it kind of seems like SR's plans here have been thwarted. And, they don't really have too much space. They're kind of just, mingling around and whatnot, kind of deciding what to do. And they make a bit of presence towards B. Okay, and so what's going to happen here is we're going to get a Fade Haunt here from Bob, just land in just a second. It gets shot just there, as you can see. And now Bob is going to send out the Fade Ult. And SR are on a save this round, okay? So really, they don't have much going into it. They have one rifle, and they're going to pop the Neon Ult as well. But Bob is just going to make a mistake here where, if you're playing, against a save, 5v5, they haven't really taken too much space or threatened you too much just yet, right? You've sent the Fade Ult out to back them off even more. The time is ticking down. They're in a pretty comfortable position, I would say, Cloud9 White at this point in time. But Bob is going to make this mistake where they just go chasing this kill, right? This Fade Power is going to come down, as you see just here, and come down chasing towards the chamber, and Bob just comes and chases it, right? And this would be okay, right? If the Breach was coming as well, if the Raze was coming out this way, maybe if the Omen is with the Raze and you're all just attacking mid together, that's one thing. But Bob is just on their own and, just kind of going here, and actually, just run straight into Laurie and just dies straight away, just running out, right? So just a little overeager there, and trying to, maybe chase kill, play a bit of hero ball and whatnot. And you see what happens is Laurie, essentially just puts up this wall just here and, runs across the B site and actually pops the Neon Ult and gets pretty, into this kind of A-link position, and actually manages to kill Jazzy as well just there whilst getting Breach Ulted. Now, when getting Breach Ulted, manages to send off this really nice stun, and what happens here is the rest of C9 have kind of, come to deal with this problem that is Sonder. Sonder's just going to take them on a tour of the map, right? The rest of SR are going to come to C. And Sonder's just going to be here, just running around in A, as you're about to see in just a second. It's really a crazy, crazy round. I mean, they also used like 3 ults in this round, Cloud9 White, against the save just here. So maybe a little bit of panic was setting in as Sonder was just, literally just, as you see, just literally zooming around the map. And eventually, the Neon Ult is going to fade as well. And at this point, the rest of SR are all just set up on C, just kind of waiting. They just kind of use Sonder as like a big time bait. As you see, KP is just coming here, and with the plant, KP is going to have a Breach Ult as well. Now, Mel actually has some pretty good awareness here that Benita could be in this corner, and actually managed to get a pretty insane kill just there. So we end up in a 3v3. The thing is, though, Benita has heard, obviously, a lot of those footsteps. The Omen ult comes in just to check this space from Katsumi. Doesn't really see too much, so they go on their merry way. But now you can see KP is set up for this Breach Ult. So as that Breach Stun comes in from C9, out comes the Breach Ult in response. Aftershock as well. We're going to get another Breach Stun, a Sky Flash in there as well. Good luck, Katsumi. They actually do manage to trade it pretty well there, Cloud9. We end up in a 2v2, but of course the spike is ticking this whole time that this thing has been going on, so they have to go pretty quick. They have so many angles to clear at this point that it's going to be really tough. Flowerful manages to get that kill. Mel does actually manage to find Laurie, but it's too late. There just isn't enough time. And thus ends one of the wildest rounds you will see, because I honestly can't remember a time where I've just seen, a team just basically chase one player who's just, jumping around on one side of the map whilst the rest of the team is going elsewhere. A really impactful round as well, winning on the save here for SR, set them up very nicely for this half. and they could go into the second half with a nice lead. And now let's come to round number 18. So now SR are on the defensive side and Cloud9 White are on the attacking side. It's 10-7 to SR, and this is going to be a crazy round as well, because what we're going to get is, as you can see, SR have gone for a pretty mid-heavy, like, defensive setup here, you know, playing pretty passive on A. They just have the chamber trap here on C. And so what's going to happen here is we're going to get this prowler down on C. We're about to get a smoke towards garage as well. And that's going to convince them pretty much that this is, you know, might be a C hit. So you see this smoke just comes in there. The fade prowler comes in. We're going to get a fade haunt as well, just in a second, just there. And so, you know, you can see that the rest of SR believe it to be a C hit, right? And these two start to walk down mid. But as that's happening, I'll just show you Mel's kill here as Sonda. She just sees the top of her head and actually manages to get that kill. And so we end up in a 5v4. And now Cloud9 are actually going to go walking towards that A site instead, which, you know, SR get the idea that that might be the case, right? And so they're going to start slowly walking across as well. But you know, this is a good position for Cloud9, and it's going to get even better because a Skydog is going to come out, and I think that this Skydog doesn't quite see Mel here, just tucked into short. I don't think it quite sees her. So Benita's going to come walking in onto the site, thinking that, you know, maybe she just beat the timing and, you know, it's actually clear. But actually, as we can see, that is not the case. And Jazzy is going to manage to find that kill. And we end up in a 5v3. And at this point, you're thinking, you know, pretty much round over, right? 5v3, Spike's going to go down as well. Should be pretty good here for Cloud9. And also what's going to happen is the chamber trap's going to go off as well and alert them that Flowerful is just there also. And so you're thinking, at this point, pretty much round done, right? But actually no, because you've got Mel and Bob here, you know, just holding this on a nice little cross, and you think that's going to be pretty good. But Bob just gets a little eager, tries to go find that kill straight away, and Flowerful punches that, manages to get the kill. We end up in a 4v3. Still 4v3, you know where one player is as well. You know, you're feeling pretty good about the situation overall, but we're about to see some incredible utility usage and timing here. So first goes that Sky Flash, right? Sky Flash just comes out of heaven from Laurie. But now what's going to happen crucially is we're going to, just missed it. I was hoping to get it, but we're just going to get a breach flash in here, right? In under hell. And that's the timing for Laurie to drop out with that breach flash. Incredibly good flash because it blinds not only Jazzy, but also the player in hell as well. So we've got a player just in here in hell as well that's also going to be blind Alexis. And actually what's going to happen is Flowerful's going to come swinging just at this right time to get one of these kills as well. So we're going to end up very briefly in a good situation here for SR. So Flowerful gets one, Laurie gets another. Melachi then trades Flowerful. We end up in a 2v2, but unfortunately for them, we've got a breach stun in here from KP, the utility just insane in this round, and that is going to stun Katsumi, as you can see just here, and Laurie gets that kill as well. 2v1, you're thinking, wow, now SR are going to win the round, right? But no, because Mel is about to play this 2v1 perfectly. As the flash comes in, she's just going to, you know, she hears the spike tap, of course, and so knows 2v1, you just got to pick a timing, hope you can isolate one fight, and hope to get that kill. That's exactly what happens, kills KP. And now you're in a 1v1. And if you are ever in this situation, please play the round like this, because you will win rounds, so many more rounds than you would if you just swing it. And I see people in every rank just swing this and think, I can win this fight. Play it like this, because you will win so many more rounds, right? Watch what Mel's going to do here. Jump peek, shot, little shot, jump peek. Another jump peek, right? And the time is just ticking. The time is just ticking, right? And Laurie eventually has to stick it. And so with one jump peek, she sees that Laurie is still on the spike at that point, then goes for the kill, manages to get it. That is how you win a 1v1. Well played by Mel, and they win the round. Now let's come to the very next round. And so now actually they are on a save here, RSR. They have the chamber ult, but other than that, it's not looking too good. But they start out pretty well here. They're going to send the Sky Flash in here. As you can just see, they send the stun in as well, as you can see. And they get Flowerful set up on this little angle just here to watch this kind of A lobby area. Very powerful position for an op to have. And, well, they're going to manage to get the first kill from it as well here, SR. And it looks like things are going to go pretty well. But then we get an incredible trade by Alexis. And at this point, I'm thinking again, you know, okay, round over, right? Cloud9, they just killed the main threat, the chamber ult, and you know, now the rest of the players are on the save, and now the A site is pretty free as well. You know, at this point it looks pretty good for Cloud9, and they are just going to continue walking down towards A and come and, you know, get the spike down and be fine, right? And at this point you're thinking, like, you know, there's pretty much no way they lose this round, right? Smoke goes in, they do a stun, they, you know, come in onto the site, they're going to plant the spike down just there in a second as well. Put the one-way smoke up as well. You know, spike is gonna go down, and it all looks pretty good. The only thing is, Katsumi here, unfortunately, I mean, gonna just get timinged, right? As soon as you turn around, the smoke fades and you die. Kind of unfortunate, Just a kind of unfortunate circumstance there. They end up in a 4v3, but they still have the breach ult. You're still thinking they are fine. But then in comes this Astra ult, and this Astra ult causes them some major problems because now they can't hear. So yes, they do have a breach ult, but now Alexis is basically just going off feeling, right? Like, when is the right time to do this breach ult? And you see that the timing is kind of just so that actually it's only going to catch one player, as you will see, because what we're going to get is we're going to get a Skydog coming in from heaven just there, and the Neon Wall comes across, right? So you're thinking that they are coming in onto the site. The dog stuns up Bob just there, and so now Alexis just kind of, sends it, but unfortunately for Alexis, it's just at the wrong time to where KP is able to avoid it just on this side, and Laurie is just ahead of it as well. So actually it's only gonna, oh sorry, not Laurie, Sandra is ahead of it as well, so it's only gonna catch Laurie on the sky. And so, they use a breach ult, it only hits one player. Bob obviously is stunned. Sandra is actually able to get that kill on the stunned Bob as well. I mean, Bob is completely blind as they're going in there as well. But Benita now as well has come on a flank. Obviously, this has caused them such a problem, this Astra ult, that, they've completely kind of forgotten about the flank, and Benita is able to get a kill as well. So now we're in a 3v1. We're going to get another amazing flash by KP just on this wall. Somehow, actually, Alexis does manage to get the kill in heaven, but they are able to win the round. And I think that this round was crucial to winning this game and just giving them the confidence that they could win this game, because obviously they went from what should have been 9-10, when pressure is on, to all of a sudden it's 11-8. Now it was actually a save for Cloud9 White as well. That became 12-8, and all of a sudden you're feeling confident to win the game. And it would end here at 12-9 for SR, as they would come and try and get aggressive here down towards A lobby, as you're about to see, but they actually get pushed back. So they're going to send in Skyflash, Astra Star here. You're going to get the Neon Stun coming in there as well. But we're going to get a Prowler in response, Boombot in response, and actually Cloud9 are going to push them back off this space. As you'll see, Breach Stun goes in as well, and so you see SR kind of feel like they have to leave it with the Omen Smoke there, and so it seems like Cloud9 have this space, but what they're about to do is pretty crazy here, and something that you don't see too often from a team. Yeah, I've seen teams do it before, but it's not a common way, because they're going to use the Breach ult just in here and really go for this. They're basically just going to say, we're going to double down on our initial plan and just go for this, right? And so you're going to see that that's going to pay off big time, though, because as they go for this breach ult, they send in the Skyflash just there, check if people are actually there. Okay, they are. Let's breach ult. Let's go for it. You see that they get ready. In goes that breach ult. Unfortunately, poor Katsumi is just left here on an island. Dies just there. We end up in this situation. Again, they come and take this control back. And, well, then this happens. Which is just, sometimes it's just your day. And so they end up in a 5v2, and, it's pretty much game over at this point. It gets a little close, it gets a little sweaty here from SR. I do think that one area that they, could improve on is these, 2-man, 3-man advantage situations where, they are up a couple players. Sometimes I think they can get a little bit antsy to try and close a round out, make some mistakes, and let their opponents back into it. And fair enough at this point, right? The pressure is really on. You're probably feeling it even in a 5v2. You're about to beat Cloud9 White on a map where they look impossible to beat. So, and your tournament live is on the line. You see Jazzy manages to catch Flowerful off just there and an uninspected angle. And so now we end up in this 4v2. It's actually going to end up being a 4v1, by the way, as well, as they swing there. And so you're going to get Jazzy just swinging out on this angle, but actually Benita is behind Jazzy on this side. So that's going to be a free kill. And we end up in a 4v1, and you think, okay, completely over right now, but Alexis is just going to manage to go pretty big as she ends up on 7 HP, gets 2 kills, gets stunned, but still manages to live, and we end up in a 2v1, and, she has Breach ult now as well. Looks like there's some pressure there, but KP coming around the other side of the box just there is going to manage to win this game and win it for SR and send them, well, that would send them to the lower final where they play Team Liquid. They beat Team Liquid. They then go to the the grand final, I should say, and play against G2 Gozen today. So it will be a very exciting match. They will be without their coach, in my opinion, correctly. You might disagree, but to me that seems pretty obvious, logical thing to do. Yeah, for SR though, if they continue to play like this, they have a real shot at winning it, because it does seem like their confidence is just through the roof